Good afternoon. My name is Phương Linh, and currently I'm the brand manager at Vietnam Procter & Gamble. And today I'm very happy to be here and host this session with you. May you introduce yourself first?
Thank you, Lynn. Thanks for having me here. My name is Saby Mishra. I'm the chairman and CEO of MullenLowe Mishra, which is a leading edge creative agency in Vietnam. I've worked and lived in Vietnam for close to 20 plus years. I have also worked outside Vietnam in other markets and across different agencies. Currently, I'm heading MullenLowe Mishra in Vietnam.
So today our episode is Welcome to the Creative World and how agencies shape our future marketers. So I really want to see your world of creative agency through your company lens about how you operate, innovate, and create impact. While you're still you open the door for Gen Z to imagine a place for themselves in this place. So first, can you share about your company, MullenLowe Mishra, and what is creative philosophy and what makes it different in this market?
MullenLowe Mishra is affiliated to the MullenLowe network, which is part of IPG Group. It's a very well-known global network that works on large multinational clients in different countries. And it's well-known and well-regarded and highly awarded for its creative excellence. In Vietnam, MullenLowe Mishra is built as a very locally relevant agency. And what does that mean? What it means is that we are an agency that is extremely focused on creativity for effectiveness. In other words, you can say it's strategic creativity. So creativity not just for the sake of creativity, but creativity that builds results, solves marketing problems, and does that in unique ways for different categories and different brands. At the same time, we are also, our way of working is focused on agility. We like to move quickly, make decisions, pivot fast, bring solutions to the client in a very quick way, because the marketing world these days moves at the speed of light. And the third thing is that our effectiveness mantra is actually based on our strong D&E market context. D&E stands for developing and emerging markets. So MullenLowe network is very strong in these kind of markets where be it in Latin America or be it in Asia or APAC in Southeast Asia, we have traditionally been super strong in developing market context. Not to say that it's not great in other developed markets, but we have a strong D&E culture. And that is our uniqueness in terms of really understanding how consumers in emerging markets behave, how they adopt brands, and how the cultural aspect. So those things are our strength.
Thank you for sharing. I think it's really impressive. And about your advertising, may I understand your point of view, like what is advertising and what is the role of that in this economy?
Okay. Well, I think that definition of advertising depends on who you ask. You will get a very different response. If you ask Don Draper in the show Mad Men, I think he said advertising is about happiness or something like that. There is also an American humorist, Will Rogers, who said that advertising is the art of making people spend money they don't have on things they don't need. But if you ask me, I think the definition of advertising is really creating a voice for the brand in the market economy, and really and in the way that it educates people, it inspires them, and also connects with them emotionally so that they can make smart choices about their things they want to buy or things they need. Advertising is critical in the economy because we live in a market economy now, right? There are manufacturers, there are consumers, There are a lot of intermediaries in between. There are supply chains which work into the manufacturer. So advertising is critical to keep this ecosystem running at scale in a smooth way. How does it do that? How it does that is that advertising creates demand for products. Yeah, advertising and it does that at scale. It can inform lots of people about which products and services are available, and it does that by taking the message at scale to a large number of people. So that creates demand, and that helps the economy. It keeps all the stakeholders and all in that value chain. They benefit from that. Number two, advertising helps I believe it helps in driving innovation and competitiveness, because it keeps everyone, all the brands or all the manufacturers, very keenly aware of what consumers need, and nobody is slacking off. They know that if they are not meeting the consumer needs in a innovative way better than the other brand, then they will lose out. So everybody is focused on innovation, and they remain competitive, which is good. The third thing is that advertising helps brands in market entry and in growing. So if a brand, suppose there is a small player, a small company, and they want their product and they want to go to a new city or a new region or a new country, it'll be tough for them to do that on their own. But advertising is a tool or a technique that allows them to go into a new category or new country or new geography or new segment and make themselves known to the consumers. So I think these are the ways advertising helps drive, plays a role in the economy by keeping the market economy running in a smooth way. It drives scale, competition, innovation, and all that.
Yes. So advertising is sure play a very crucial role to not only to develop the market, but also to drive growth for the economy. So in creative, we have a lot of buzzwords: creativity, strategy, insight, big idea, and also the creative tech. So can you reveal the truth behind these buzzwords?
Frankly, these are not just buzzwords. These are very important concepts, and each one means something very specific. So I would encourage all the marketing people and all the creative people who are entering this profession, who are interested in getting into marketing, to really know what those concepts are. If we talk about it now in this podcast, each one was going to take a long time, but they're not just buzzwords. They are real things. They're real things that they have to deal with when they come into the industry.
Yes, I agree. It's a real thing, and it's really also the foundation. So
absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So with your experience working with a lot of Vietnam clients, so can you share the main barriers to build innovative campaigns in this market?
When I think of barriers to innovative campaigns, I don't think they are unique only to Vietnam. In my experience, there are certain common barriers that are applicable almost in every market. Number one, does the client and agency both have a unified vision on what they want to do on a campaign or on a certain brief? Because innovation requires preparation. It requires resources. It requires focus. So it requires agencies and agency team and the client team really to come together right from the start until the final point and work together and build it and nurture it and take it towards success. So that is one. So when that is not there, then it can become a barrier, because if we just dumped into the agency, say, okay, go do innovative campaign, success rate is lower. It's not impossible, but in my experience, success rate is lower. Number two, sometimes clients want to default to tried and tested results, because there is risk of failure or risk of something new. And so nobody wants to there is, and sometimes maybe for a real reason, they don't want to go beyond what has really worked in the past. So that's the second reason. Third reason is that sometimes there is just too much process, because in the advertising or marketing ecosystem, there are so many players. There is client, of course. Within the client company, there are marketing, there could be legal, there could be procurement, product people. Agency side, they have creative, account management, strategy, tech. Then there are production houses. Then there are media planning agencies, media agencies, influencers. So lots of people are involved in a campaign building process. So sometimes if everybody is not aligned towards innovation, and they're just, it can get lost in this sort of ecosystem. That's a second issue. The last thing is that sometimes clients, they want to go for, all they're needing is a short-term, quick ROI result. They don't need a innovation campaign every time. And not always you need a highly innovative. Sometimes you need very effective work very quickly, because maybe there is a marketing challenge or an issue that is there that needs to get addressed fast. Sometimes speed is more important than the most innovative campaign. Of course, it has to be effective. So campaign can still be effective without innovation, but when effectiveness and innovation come together, it goes to a totally different level. So those are the barriers to innovation.
Thank you. So the barriers here is not only limited to Vietnam, but also all the market. And I think it's very essential for both the client side and the agency to collaborate and align on the objective, and then hands-on during the whole execution to drive an innovative one. So this year, our mission and vision of our competition is to continue and equip young marketers with the transformative values that they need to thrive in the fast-changing industry. So the Valiant Marketer 13 now goes beyond solving marketing challenges and aims to inspire and nurture a transformative mindset in all the young marketers. Mm-hmm. So I would like to know your point of view, like how agencies can help these young marketers to build transformative mindset. And this including 3 key factors. The first thing is the problem-solving mindset, and then the strategic thinking mindset, and the last one is the creative capabilities.
So firstly, I mean, this is from my experience, and I've been in the industry for close to 25 years across different markets. I worked in agency. I've also worked on the client side for some time. I feel that, and I've worked with a lot of people who have gone from advertising to marketing. And I've also seen marketing people come into advertising industry, very successful, everyone. But I think that for marketing people who are looking to build a marketing students who are looking to build a marketing career, I would advise, not all of them, but some of them should consider advertising as an entry point. And I think it's one of the best preparation ground, a launch pad for marketing career. And there have been actually many successful marketing professionals who have actually worked initially in advertising and then gone to marketing. There are 3 or 4 reasons for that. Why I'm saying that, why it is such a success, why it can be so successful. Number one, in advertising agency, we are always solving problems every day under pressure, not solving problems with lots of time in hand. Decision has to be made really quickly. So decision making ability under pressure and real time decision making. It's not something that you make a decision and the result is going to come out after 10 months. No, it has to come out really quickly. So that is advertising agency has that environment, which is very important. Second is that advertising agencies, we are at the intersection of creativity and business. So we learn, our people who come to advertising agency, they know how to deal with creativity, which is about art, But then they have to get into the science of marketing. It's about understanding data, understanding consumer segmentation, pricing, all that. So by working at this intersection, not just doing pure art or not just doing the science part, that gives them a very unique ability to sharpen their skills. So when they go into marketing later, or they can stay in advertising, they're much they can sort of transcend these two sides very well. They know how to work with both. Third, when you're sitting in advertising, you have a 360. In an agency, you have 360 view. You're working with client, you're working with agency people, creative, tech, strategy, insight, data, media, and you're working consumers with research agency, market research. So, and you get into the agency, you get a complete 360 view, everything very quickly. One can get that in marketing company also, but here you have the added advantage of being really close to these kind of things because we are a lot more hands-on. And they do that not just on one category. So they're not doing it, suppose they're handling automotives on a car. In agency, they could be handling morning, they could go into a meeting for a car brand. Afternoon, they could be sitting in a brainstorm for a skincare product. When they leave office, they could be thinking about a meeting next day, which is about a retail bank. So they get cross category experience. This is uniquely possible in the agency world. And this is what it helps us because you kind of picking up insights and experience from diverse categories. And sometimes you're transferring that knowledge, you pick up a learning and going to the other category. So those are some of the things that helps. And the last point, which I think is really extremely important for a thing that happens in agencies, and this is something that I would urge all students, marketing students, or anyone who is getting into the industry to focus on, is that in the agency world, we are trained to take everything complex into something and distill that into something simple, and then create the campaign or the solution from there. So it really starts like a funnel. So you have the marketing brief and lots of information, data, but all of that has to be really sharpened down to a very tight insight or a proposition or an idea. And then again, it opens up into how that has to go to consumer. So that ability to think conceptually, to take complex things and really distill it to the essence, that is a good thing we learn in the agency. Because creative cannot operate with, if you go to creative with just the brief that the client has given, sometimes they don't know what to do with it because it has a lot of information. It's too much for them. So the planners and the agency and the researchers, they have to distill that that distillation is a very important skill set that everybody contributes to that. And it's not just the planner. Sometimes even the account people do that, and anybody can do that. So that skill set is critical. And I think these are the reasons why agency is a great launch pad for marketing career.
Yes, so with all the skill set and also the potential knowledge that a young marketer can learn at agency side, I believe that if she or he entered an agency company as a very early stage, then she can learn a lot and can really adapt it to other role later in their career.
Yeah. I think so.
So I want to talk more about the human side of ideas inside the creativity. So as you share that your company, MullenLowe Mishra, cultivates the original thinking by empowering individuality and also authenticity. So this really about understanding the people and combining both the strategic, creative, not just about crazy ideas, right? So can you share more about why creativity isn't just about being weird, but it's more about relevance, empathy, and understanding the human behavior, your creative philosophy?
So first of all, advertising creativity is not just creativity for the sake of creativity. That is art. some advertising can be art also, but advertising has to also deliver on the client's marketing brief. There is a client, or there is a company, or there is a brand that wants to say something to consumers, and maybe not to buy the brand immediately, but they're selling an idea. Maybe the brand is selling a purpose or selling a concept, not necessarily. Not every advertising is for a product or a service directly, but so advertising has to be very focused on being relevant. Without being relevant, it's not in the game. Just for the sake of being weird, even weirdness is okay as long as that is relevant. Weird, relevant, and weird sometimes is okay. But weird just being weird without being relevant, it doesn't help anybody. It doesn't help the brand, doesn't help the client, doesn't help marketing, and doesn't help the marketing people, doesn't help the agency. So that doesn't work at all. So creativity, and sometimes it's easy to be just being weird for the sake of being weird, but it's actually real creativity is when you are relevant, and relevant for the category, for the consumer, for the culture, for the way the product is, and what's the proposition. So I personally, in my career, and even within our agency, we put a significant amount of emphasis on being relevant, because it's very easy to get carried away these days with many things, and just be weird, just to stand out, just be seen. But for what? Stand out for what? You'll be seen for what? Because that's not the end. This is marketing. Advertising is marketing. Advertising is the extension of marketing. It has to then lead the consumer to something, it has to close the loop. So that is the critical aspect. Therefore, relevance is extremely important.
Yes, so creative here is to stay relevant with not only the consumer but also the company and then the culture, and also deliver the product role and the proposition.
So it has to be on brand as well.
Yes.
It has to be relevant to brand, to and everything else you said. Yeah.
Yes. So can you share more about your MullenLowe Mishra approach to nurturing like the original ideas while still respecting each person's authentic self when you like deep dive and work on one consumer insight to translate it into a campaign or creative idea?
Okay. So I think one of the things that we really put a lot of emphasis on at MullenLowe Mishra is about really being focused on effectiveness. Because whatever it is that we're doing, if it's not delivering the desired result, it's pointless exercise. It's a waste of money for the client and waste of time for everybody else. So I think our significant focus is on really driving that effectiveness. And how we do that is that we start not when the advertising getting created. That's too late. After the brief has been issued, that's too late. I think it is really starts from the time the briefing from the client is received. So we have a excellent process of really what is called a brief challenge, which is after the team will receive the brief from the client, instead of just jumping to work on it, they digest the brief, they discuss it among themselves, and then they go back to, they are encouraged. It's not always easy, and sometimes there is time is a constraint, but we encourage them to challenge the brief. Not because for the sake of challenging again, but when we challenge something, it gets sharper. We find that it gets really more sharper, more focused. So we challenge the brief, and so how we decode the brief becomes very important, and that leads to then ideas or insight mining and the creativity process and everything else that happens after that. That is driven by that interpretation of the decode of the brief. we believe that is really critical. I think we do these two things. Of course, we do a bunch of other things. If you tell me what is unique, I think these two are standout for us.
Okay, so your company is very heavy on the effectiveness. So I also understand that we also like experience potential failure or also the experimentation in the creative process. Can you share your point of view of that role during the creative process from like to sharpening the mindset of the future ready talent?
Creativity is not a linear process, right? It's not like start A and reach B and finish. I think it's almost like a infinite loop. You're kind of going, and often in creativity there isn't one right answer. There are many right answers, so you have to make the choice. So we do encourage, absolutely, it's ingrained in our process to try different things, um, and not believe that only one person has all the right answers, or there is only one right answer. There are many ways to come at the challenge or the marketing brief, many different ways, and we explore all of that. And then, and one, and again, we like to believe there is no wrong answer or right answer. There is no wrong answer. There are answers, different answers. Then we sit down together with the client, clients and maybe research agency, and figure out which is the best way to go forward. And of course, we always have a point of view as well. We think what might work better or more successful for that brand in that market. But often the brand manager, the marketing manager also has a very strong view. They have the experience, and it really works together. Market research people can also say, hey, they might test it. So I would say that we don't think there is failure or success or wrong or right. It's a continuous process. Everybody's learning, and there are ways to minimize the risk of failure within the marketing process. These days, there are really sophisticated tools, there are testing tools and all that, and lots of experience people in marketing and in advertising agencies. So usually they do take, I mean, there are exceptions, but usually they take pretty informed and smart decisions.
Yes. So it's like really important for the future ready talents to like keep improving during the creative process. Like not only like focus right now today I start, I need to like the right answer immediately, right? It does not work like that. And even like the failure or also the experimentation along the way is also like just sharpen your skill and to deliver the better campaign.
Yes.
So can you share more like how the advertising industry is changing due to this younger voice and perspective?
In a bunch of different ways. So one, the whole sort of top-down messaging is going away, because Gen Z is rejecting the broadcast style communication. So advertising has to now listen more, remix, and deliver the message with authenticity, not authority. So that is one thing. That is one critical change that is happening. The second critical change that is happening is that Gen Z is culture first, product second. So it's no longer about product hard selling that much with this audience. It has to be cultural storytelling. Of course, product is there, but product is not. It's not like it used to happen before hard sell. So those are the two important points. A, that it's not so much about top-down communication. It's more about co-creation. And another third point, I think, critical that we see, and I'm seeing this because I have been in the industry and I'm seeing how it is changing, is that Gen Z has a lot more emphasis on purpose. In most categories, they want the brands to walk the talk. They are demanding greater accountability for brands. So that is a thing. This was not such a big deal in the past. It was there in some brands and some products, but now as a cohort, they are demanding this a lot more. These three things.
Okay, so we cannot deny that the importance of Gen Z and also like how much they influence the market. But like now, let's get to the real point. Then, what do you think like that the most young people are lacking of, like the skill sets or the mindset or anything when they enter the agency world?
So I'll share my observations. Okay, so I think that young people, when they are entering the market, and I would not say today or before, but always, I think they need to come in to this industry with a lot more curiosity. Means that because a lot of it, there's a lot that you can learn about advertising from the in the university, in marketing, even marketing, not just you can learn, but there is an aspect where you need to bring your personal observation into it also. You can't just be very academic about it. Marketing is not it is a science, but there is also a art element to it, there's a psychology element to it, there's an observation element to it. So I think young people need to come in with a lot more curiosity. So their curiosity will help them to learn on their own quicker. Curiosity is the tool to learn. It's a learning thing. So that's a quality. Second thing I would say is that I think marketing, when you are entering the marketing field or the communication advertising era field, I would suggest people to spend more time where the value creation happens. You know, Japanese people have a very interesting term called gemba. Gemba, you must have heard that word. It means that be at the spot where the value creation is happening. So I would say to all the new entrants to coming out from students, that how much time do you really spend in the supermarket, not just as a consumer, but to learn something, to see how people are buying, so see how products are selling. I know a advertising guy. He's a very successful advertising leader, industry leader, and he had told me something. I remember that wherever he goes, whenever he flies into a new city, even for a business meeting or for tourism, one of the things he would always do is to get into a supermarket in that country and see how the things are there over there, how the display, what are the products, how people are buying. It's not something that somebody told him to do, but that's his nature. So I would say spending time there rather than sitting inside office or reading stuff on the internet and all that and just researching, but really getting out there. Marketing is out there. I know there is a lot of e-commerce now. There is, people is all, there's a lot of buying and selling is not necessarily brick and mortar, but still there are stores, there are shops, there are big, small. It's good to go out and observe over there. Third point I would say is that to be a lot more resilient. They need to be a lot more resilient. That makes them strong, because it's a tough profession, in the sense that sometimes it's a bit it's partly art, partly science. So they need to be resilient, so they can, early years, they can navigate, learn well, and really be strong as they move forward.
Okay, so be curious and then try to stay close with the market, the product, the consumer, and also like be resilient along the way. It's like the must thing for like young marketers to have. I
think so. I mean, there are a whole lot of other qualities that are needed, but I would say the other two or three critical ones. I mean, of course, they are well educated, they learn a lot, but it's very critical they have these three things.
So is there any advice, or is there any reason that you think that young marketers they should join the agency world before they graduate?
Before they graduate, yes, if they can, if they are interested, and if they can find an employer who will take them, be it internships or whatever. Oh, absolutely, because the sooner they get into practical side, better. Because I feel that if they start seeing the practical side sooner, then even their learning in the classroom learning gets a lot better. So I think they should, as soon as they can. I would say that there is no rule that they should only get in after 3 months or whatever, because whatever they will learn in the agency, it will not go to waste. It will only help them.
So thank you for sharing a lot of insightful information. I believe that a lot of people can understand more about creativity, the perspective from agency side about like how to build like strategic, creative, and also like drive effectiveness and influence in the market to the
Correct.
consumer. So, and also like for a lot of young marketers who are watching it, they can also get like how to prepare for the skills, the experience, so they can enter the agency and the industry market. With the next episode, we will talk more about how young creatives can thrive in agency life and shape their future creative and marketing careers. So I'm really looking forward to have you in the next episode and share more about that with the young marketers here. So thank you for sharing today.
Certainly. Thank you.